Welcome back to a long-awaited addition to the Indie Game Review series, where I take a look at games made by smaller teams, and I give my thoughts on my playthrough and discuss mechanics, story, flow, and anything I deem to be vital to understanding my experience with the game. Today, I've got a dice rolling, deck building, monster slaying, hash slinging I've got the turn-based deck builder SpellRogue, where you'll be building a synergistic repertoire of spells and artifacts, engage in complex battles against a plethora of fearsome foes as you cast your way through 3 distinct zones, full of game-making or breaking choices. Can you make it to Arkanax and end his shit? I'm sorry, I couldn't come up with a better hook than that. I'll preface this review with 2 things. 1, there will obviously be spoilers for almost everything, so watch at your own discretion. And 2, SpellRogue is in early access, so the game will change at least a little bit, and unless it was made by the fun pimps, and it wasn't, this game is bound to get better over time. Was that too harsh? We start out in the Deadwoods, a damp, dimly lit locale padded with deciduous detritus, a location replete with adorable massive mushies, ravenous rot golems, shamblers, whatever those are, and angry flora to assault. Since there's only one character available to use at first, we skip the character select screen and are spawned in as Lapis the Azure Seer. We're given a text dump tutorial, though it does look pretty and there's a video to go along with it, so I can forgive this. We say hello to the cute little shamblers, hope they can forgive us for what we are about to do, and roll our dice. And we are already to the heart of the game. You'll want to check out what the enemy has going on. They'll always have a symbol above them, clearly representing their next action. An enemy may be planning to attack, summon, buff themselves, or debuff you and even your spells. For example, they may set fire to the very spells you use to damage them, or they may choose some random spells to ensnare, causing you to take 50% more damage for a turn if cast. There are plenty of unique situations you'll have to endure and strategize for. We are eased into the complexity though, which I appreciate since this is only the 2nd game I've played in the genre. The first being Die in the Dungeon, which I talk about in the top indie releases for December, which you should totally go check out after this. I struggled to understand some of these effects and spells at times. Luckily, I had a few kind souls in chat who were involved with the game in some way or another to provide some clarification. I don't think the wording is bad. I think my failure to grasp the information stemmed from more of a lack of experience with the genre. Spells will have different socket types, some will take any old die, some have a countdown that needs to reach 0 to be cast, some require a die to be odd or even, within a certain range, or require a specific value. The effects of spells may be altered by the die you put in, but some may just have static effects. My first few battles went swimmingly as I fumbled through the encounters, but I made uninformed decisions that ultimately led to my downfall to a crone later on in the Scorched Desert, where the devs really turn up the heat. I just can't ignore elite fights. Hardest path, only path. Upon any victory, you're rewarded with a challenge-appropriate reward. Normal encounters reward you with gold, a potion, and one of 3 new spells, while an elite battle grants you the additional choice between an artifact and a shard. A shard of what? I have no idea. I do know that they are used to upgrade spells and that they are very useful. One upgraded spell can really turn around a rough playthrough. Artifacts tend to be passives that can also drastically help you, but may also provide a negative to keep in mind. Before my death, I did acquire my first ritual, which are powerful abilities and can be manually triggered every few turns. They can steal life, increase the value of dice, decrease the value required for a spell, or simply just do 20 damage to an enemy. This can be a tough choice, but it's always going to have a significant effect. So after my untimely aforementioned death, I soak in all these lovely stats on my death screen, and I unlock another playable character, Hazel the Earth Mage, aka Muscle Mommy. And we have officially arrived at Rogueliteville. Every playthrough will earn you experience, new loadouts, and new spells if you completed any challenges found in your thoroughly exhaustive journal. It contains everything you've encountered, unlocked, and what you can unlock, spurring the completionists to fill that bad boy out. We can now see that each class has specific spells available to learn, and they all have 4 different starting loadouts to choose from. My first attempt with Muscle Mommy was not fruitful, as her spells just seemed to go over the heads of me and my enemies. This carrion abomination effectively convinced me to press the on button connected to the old brain and try again. But before we move on, look at this thing. Carrion abominations look badass. I mean, every enemy I saw, even this anomalous spiky boy, was just nice to look at. These cute little oozes and their cute little death animations, intimidating swirls of stuff. Character designs are phenomenal. A lot of the models are both creepy and adorable at the same time, similar to how I feel about spiders. During my second attempt with her, I quickly stumbled onto a magical spell called Onslaught. Suddenly, a generic incandescent light bulb materialized directly above my head, and the attack as many times as possible in one turn build was born. I then turned off the light because I get overstimulated easily and like to live like a vampire when possible. Every build I've discovered in this game was just stumbled upon, but that aha moment when I realized that I have the foundation for a serious build is a feeling I haven't gotten in any other game. It's the polar opposite of like Path of Exile, where you have to collect all the necessary gear and slowly allocate the thousands of fucking skill points in an Unreal Engine spaghetti code skill tree so you can increase your summon's health by 5%. Every decision you make in SpellRogue has the potential to be seriously impactful on your game. So I made my way through the Deadwoods, collecting some useful spells like Onslaught, Instinct, Pox Flare, and the artifact Illumin Necklace, and I ended these sentient flames with 2 turns. It was so close to being 1 though. Finally, we reached the Scorched Desert, where we can encounter a new set of enemies including warlocks, giant grubs, desert spirits, and jacked imps. When I think imp, I picture a sus little guy with wings partaking in mischievous shenanigans. I don't picture goblins on Trenbolone. As I mosey on through the arid, windswept landscape, I find a Sanctuary, which is a major, reliable way to restore some health, or a way to increase your maximum health if you are willing to sacrifice a spell. I always hold on to a trash spell in case I decide to stop at a Sanctuary. I melt some more baddies with ease and make my way to a shop, a place to buy spells, artifacts, and potions, and sell your own spells you've been hoarding. I purchase an integral artifact for my build, which I'll summarize in a little bit, or maybe I'll just direct you to the short I made about it. I don't want to lose a bunch of you by explaining how a build works in a game you may have never touched. So I head to another elite battle and face off with a devil assassin. Looks like he should have developed his skills a bit more. I then took on the Shadowfire twins and took the Shadowfire win. It was then time to desert this place and head to the Void, where malevolent monstrosities mill about, where the mundane is replaced with the magical. I like the Void. As generic as the theme may be, I love cosmic creepies and all their implausible aspects that make you go, don't know what's going on here, but I like it. Seriously, we've got like swirly guys, chaos angels, and let's not forget the Lovecraftian Leviathan Arkanax, who we will be meeting shortly. At this point, my build is solid. I can end a lot of fights without taking damage, and I deal a considerable amount of damage. You'll kind of know by now if you're going to be able to survive the Void and the rest of the game. I'll skip to Arkanax because we all know the drill by now. Nothing crazy is gonna oh my god, sentient broccoli! Anyway, this fight was pretty fun. I like that there are 3 phases of increasing difficulty. First phase was pretty simple, he broke a random spell. Second phase was also pretty simple, he ignited a random spell. And then the third phase, he infected a random spell. And then he was defeated. It was a tiny bit disappointing how easy Arkanax was, and that's a common theme with some bosses. With just an okay build, most bosses other than Arkanax aren't much more difficult than an elite. They will just take longer to kill as they usually have some wacky buffs and debuffs and a large health pool, and sometimes 8 heads. But I believe that this may be intentional, as upon beating old Cthulhu here, you unlock Mutators, which are modifiers to spice up your runs. And holy sh*, these runs get spicier than that ghost pepper you ate while trashed in your kitchen at 3 AM because, quote, it'll be funny, end quote. They provide a massive spike in difficulty, and even thoroughly thinking out every choice may still plop you at death's doorstep if you decide to activate every mutator presented to you, which I did. Obviously, these can be very entertaining and fulfilling for challenge runners. While in early access, they plan to add an air-themed wizard, another boss, more enemies, more spells, artifacts, relics, potions, and mutators. I'm hoping another boss means a new area, as one of my 2 criticisms at the moment is that the playthroughs are pretty short. But there is so much replayability here, crazy build variety, routes and encounters changing every playthrough, random rewards that may alter the course of your game, mutators and new game pluses. The other negative is that some bosses are on the easy side, but that isn't really anything substantial either. I didn't find any crazy bugs, I didn't find any bugs. The sounds, menus, interactions all worked exactly how they should. Maybe someone more experienced with the genre can provide some more insight on the potential downfalls I missed. I forgot to get footage of Azar the Cinder Conjurer, the 3rd playable character. You know what, you can experience him on your own. You're welcome, I guess. SpellRogue is only $16 while in early access, so I really can't recommend it enough. All praise Muscle Mommy. This was the most challenging script to write. I'm used to reviewing RPGs. Summarizing my experience with this type of game with a limited story and short game loop, and not having it turn into an info dump was, challenging. Hopefully this was still entertaining and informative though. If you have any thoughts, know of a game, or released a game yourself you'd like me to review, let me know in the comments or send me an email. I stream my footage getting and coding challenges over at twitch.tv/moitage if you'd like to talk indie games, coding, butts, whatever really. If you'd like more indie game content in your life, a like and or subscribe would help you achieve that goal. My socials and music are in the description, along with links relevant to SpellRogue. Don't forget to show these devs and their work some love, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.